I have it up now. So we will officially call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's have a look at the previous minutes, the 8/16. My computer seems like it's going to take off and go into space here.
Yeah, it does.
You need a motion to approve these minutes?
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay. Reserves. All right, motion to approve the minutes as they are.
Second? No discussion? All in favor? Everyone, unanimous for those present.
All right.
Okay. Matt, your comments.
Okay, inflation for the month is 2.8%. I provided a link to the state of New Hampshire where they're keeping track of it for the state. Special education, we're still anticipating higher than expected special education costs. For policies, we're trying to go through and we're trying to update policies, and I want to make this committee aware of anything that's financially related. And what I did is the auditors love it when we review the investment policy on an annual basis. I've given a link to the write-up that I did before. Basically what I do is I try to review it against the current laws. I also review it against accounting pronouncements, and I'm not recommending any changes. So I want to send it to the school board for reaffirmation, okay? Since there's no policy this month, it's really 1 month. So if you have any questions about the write-up here, you have a month to review it, ask me questions, we can bring it back to the finance committee and then go to policy. Okay?
Okay.
I did not pull up the encumbrances for the current month. I will have to, that's an open item. I'll have to get that to you, okay? So beginning with the fiscal year 2024, we try to budget on a position basis, okay? We weren't able to do that in the past. I want to make sure that you get a snapshot of this right now with all of our hires. We're over budget on the positions by $8,615. That means that the people that we're hiring are more experienced than the people that are leaving, which is a good thing, okay? Also, I have not yet, at the last meeting, we moved some budget money for the custodial staff and the non-union staff. I have not moved that yet, so that accounts for some of the deficit, okay? So we'll be moving that around this week because I have to start preparing for the default budget starting tomorrow. So if you want to look at that report, the link is there. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It lists out every single position, every single dollar amount, who's in it, okay?
Yep.
The next thing is the cash balance of the school district as of July 31st is $3,632,524. It's sufficient to operate the school district for 1.12 months. And that assumes a cash burn rate of $3,250,000. That's rough. The $3,250,000 is roughly 1/12 of our operating budget. So right now, the cash balance, I feel that it's lower than what's typical, but it's not unexpected. Basically what I did was when I first arrived here, we have to assess our payments to the towns. The towns collect the taxpayers' money and then they turn it over to us based upon a payment schedule. The old payment schedule front-loaded all the payments. I've smoothed out through the year. And it makes it so that each of the towns don't have to borrow money. So additionally, the towns of Kingston and Newton are current on their assessment payments, okay? Through July 31st, we recorded a total revenue of $29,759,781. Now, this represents pretty more or less the assessments for the towns, anything that's a receivable, okay, for the whole year. Also, the budget, if you look at the budget report, the budget has not been entered because we don't know what the estimated revenues are. The tax rate hasn't been set, okay? So later on tonight in the meeting is an agenda item to talk about estimated revenues, okay? So, however, the significant revenue for the month is investment income of $5,797.25. So for non-health insurance expenditures through July 31st, we've spent $3,404,676, and we have encumbrances outstanding of $25,406,253. So encumbrances would include both payroll and like heating oil as an encumbrance, okay? The remaining appropriation right now is $9,086,217, or 23.97%. So basically what you'll find is that the amount remaining declines throughout the year as we encumber more funds, okay? Yep. Right now, I'm trying to keep as much of it open as possible to pivot with special education, okay? So
Sorry, we keep talking about that, Matt. When will we have more fidelity on that? Facilities, we're kind of like, we're pausing on some things if we can.
Yes.
So when do we think we'll have fidelity on that?
So actually, the special education director gave me a worksheet that I'm going to start working on tomorrow, and I'm going to be filling out. I'm going to be projecting out the year in fidelity starting tomorrow.
We'll have a real sense at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Of what? Yeah.
Yep. All right.
So now, out of notable expenditures for the month are $17,704 for science refill kits for the middle school, $21,150 for the SAU lease payment. I do want to let you know that I did an analysis on the SAU lease payment. It costs us between $7 and $14 to make it cut a check. Okay, so if the interest income from a couple of years ago was so bad, we wouldn't even get like $3 or $5 for the entire year for our lease payment. Okay, this year I did an analysis of what it would actually be, and I'm trying to pay it throughout the whole year. Okay, so instead of making one payment, so before I would just give them one check for the whole year, because it was costing me more money than the interest. Sure. Now I'm probably going to get about $2,000 just in floating the money. Okay.
Thanks for doing that, man.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
We also paid $139,274 in property liability insurance. $26,374 to Tyler Tech, which is our accounting system annual maintenance fee. $35,406 to Frontline. They do our time attendance, application tracking, and onboarding of employees. $18,921. I don't really want to be too detailed in here, but these are our server license fees. And $19,370 for firewall security and wireless.
One question, Matt, on the Frontline, 35,000. Is that a contract that we have? Is that a multi-year contract? Like where does that?
I think right now it's a year-to-year contract.
It's a year-to-year?
Yes.
And that's the cost per year?
That's the cost per year.
Is that something that we should look at?
Same thing with Tyler Tech.
Yeah.
I was wondering about those two things.
Yeah.
Like, are those?
There is an opportunity to move to a product at Tyler Tech. I don't control that module, so I can't move it. Okay. So right now, Frontline works really well. The Tyler Tech product, I wouldn't say Frontline is a 10 out of 10. The Tyler product's a 9 out of 10. Yeah, it's less expensive, but it also requires implementation that we felt that we didn't have the bodies for for the year.
When you say maintenance fee, though, does that mean like all the licenses and all the,
For the Tyler Tech,
for the
yes.
Tyler Tech?
It also includes the hosting. So it's not here.
Okay.
So when I connect to it, it's in another state.
Right, and what I guess what the reason I'm asking about the front line is, it's very easy for a large organization to become a little bit lackadaisical, like, hey, this is a good product that we're getting, we just pay the annual fee, right?
Yeah.
No longer looking at what's comparable out there, because we don't want a reduction in its ability, right?
Yes.
But if we can have something, and I'm just using this, if we have something that's just as effective at half the cost,
Mhm.
we shouldn't pigeonhole ourselves like, yeah, but the one we've got is good and it's just easier, right?
Yeah.
Especially as we start looking at all this cost
Yeah.
savings coming up, like just paying attention to those things.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Oh, absolutely. We discussed Frontline.
Yep.
Okay. We went through it. I want to make sure that
Okay,
it was really a bodies problem.
okay,
Okay.
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 All right, health insurance expenditures through July 31st were $116,323. So that's the month of July. And encumbrances were $4,695,222. The amount remaining, $990,000 or 17%, will decline by about $283,000, which relates to health insurance waivers that I haven't yet reclassed with the insurance budget. Okay. So when I build the budget, I put health insurance waivers with the health insurance, okay? But our accounting system treats them like they're salaries, okay? So revolving and capital expenditures, I have them through July and August, and I've linked them there. I actually don't have completed statements from the trustees of trust funds. So these are drafts, okay? And I did them manually as opposed to the accounting system, okay? So let's see, do we want to go through each of the months or do we want to do just August? I can go through each of the months if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which document are you on right
The
now?
here and the here one?
The first here,
one, okay.
which is July.
Yep, I'm there.
Okay. So the Special Education Expendable Trust Fund at the end of July has a balance of $249,443, and interest for the month is $1,017. And I'm calculating interest rate of about 4.9%. So the trustees are doing pretty well with this.
That's great.
Now, with the capital improvement and maintenance capital reserve fund, the balance is $334,129. Interest or dividends here is $1,363. And then if I move on down to the unanticipated educational expenses, the ending balance as of July is $258,796.99. Interest income, $1,055.81. The unanticipated utility cost expendable trust fund, that has an ending balance of $77,610.87. Interest for the month is $316,062. Now, I just want to pause here for a second. During the March vote for the district meeting, we approved two different warrant articles that move money into different capital reserve funds and expendable trust funds. We're in the process right now of moving that money over. So if you're looking for that money, it's not going to be on these two statements. It's going to be in the September statement. Okay.
How long does that typically take?
So it's
In the
not,
past, it's been easy because I can wire the money. Okay.
Right.
so you're saying it's not in,
It's not in either the July or August statement
because it's
because I haven't sent it yet.
it's moving.
We started the process today. I'm not releasing it because I don't know where the money's getting sent. The
Okay.
trustees are moving our funds from
Yes.
Fidelity
Okay.
back to the state pool.
Okay.
Okay.
So they're in transit
Yes,
and not showing up anywhere.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on down to the facility use revolving fund. This is where the rental of the buildings get put into. And the ending balance for July is $143,581. The rental rate for SLC increased, and I believe it's now that amount, $11,928.43.
What is the end rate? 143,581?
I'm sorry?
What's the ending balance on this one?
143,581.
Okay, I got you.
Yep. Okay, so then we have the contingency fund of $612,840. So the total reserves at the end of July is $1,676,401. Okay, and I'm gonna go to the August statement, so it's the second here.
Give me 1 second.
So we just looked into the past, right? That was the case as of July.
Yes,
And now we're looking at what is the case as of, still to the past, but as of
yes,
August.
is August,
Okay.
okay? Yeah, we got July and August all on the same day, about the same time that they decided that they were gonna move the funds.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Special Education Expendable Trust Fund has a balance of $250,441. Interest for the month is $998, and the interest rate is 4.79% for the month. Again, they did pretty well. The Capital Improvement and Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund, the ending balance is $335,469. Interest for the month, $1,339.72. So, and just know too, when we report these, we're reporting on the fair market value, not the cost basis, because they're buying securities.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
So say, for example, they buy a stock, they pay $100 for that stock, okay? And say it increases value to $120, I'm reporting the $120. Okay, as opposed to the $100 that we paid for that stock.
Gotcha.
I'm reporting the unearned increase in the value of that investment. Okay?
Yep.
Because
Should we decide to sell it today, this is the value.
that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because what I found in reporting some of these things in the past, if I use historical value,
Sure.
if it loses value, then I'm not telling you that it's losing value.
Sure. Yep.
Okay?
Yep. That makes sense.
All right, so the unanticipated educational expenses at the end of August is $259,833. Interest for the month, $1,036. Unanticipated utility costs, expendable trust fund, $77,921.64. Interest for the month, $310.77. Facility use revolving fund, $155,509.43. Income from rental, $11,920.43. And again, we have the contingency fund of $612,840. That gives us total reserves at the end of August, $1,692,015.17. Okay. I do want to report out though that during the facilities committee, we lost the Bakey freezer. Okay, and there's potential that we're gonna have to dip into some of the capital reserves to either repair or replace it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but if I'm reading this correctly, that means that these fund accounts made about 25,000 in interest month over month.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Initially, when they went to their,
They're not making anything.
yeah, in their investment scheme, I was against it, but they seem like they're doing okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see why they're moving to the state pool. But
Are there any safety nets in there? Or
at the state pool?
no, in this model?
No.
So it could, it really just depends on the market, but
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could lose it all.
Yeah.
Actually, what they did is they voted, I think, 85% had to be liquid, and then the remainder could
Okay.
be invested in, more risky.
Okay.
So it wasn't, this is a request from the school board. The trustees can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
All right, that's my business administrator's report.
Okay, so now we can move on to new business. Budget adjustments.
Okay, the first one is special education tuition. This one here is to cover tuition for an out-of-district placement. $65,054 coming from, I'm sorry, it's from out-of-district placement to non-public student. So it's just reclassifying the money from one tuition line to another.
Okay.
Do we want to approve them individually, or do you
Yeah,
want
how
to
do you-
approve them all together?
Jeremiah, you want to look at them all
Yeah,
first? Does that sound good?
yeah. And just clarify for me, Matt, what do you mean? So we're moving that amount of money from one line to the next for what purpose?
It's to cover tuition for a student.
Okay, for an out-of-district placement?
Well, they're taking it from out-of-district placement and they're putting it in non-public student. I don't have the details for that.
What does non-public student mean? What's that
Yeah.
mean?
I'd actually have to look that up.
Okay.
Because that doesn't mean anything to me.
Right.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, is it a private school?
I think it would be a private school.
Because the next one has the same one.
It sounds like an in-state private school, right? So there's a fund, there was this amount of money in tuition out of state. But this is tuition non-public, so it's.
Yeah,
I
but
would assume.
it's for an out-of-district placement for a
Out of
student.
district.
Yes, all of these are for out-of-district placements.
Okay, with the presumption, I think, based on the language, we can get it clarified.
Yes,
later,
I'll get
I
it.
don't want to just make
Yep.
assumptions, but.
Okay, the second one is an out-of-district placement. It's a court-ordered out-of-district placement for day tuition only. And we're trying to transfer the money from out-of-state special education to tuition for out-of-state special education, and also tuition for non-public special education, and move it to out-of-state special education. So the first two lines, the first one comes from Memorial, the second one comes from the middle school. And then they're going to use it for a high school out-of-state special education tuition.
Okay. Number 3,
Okay,
Jerry, are you good moving on?
Yep.
To the next one, okay.
So we're having problems trying to find special education paras, but we can find the para service in a contracted service, okay?
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're taking the salary money out of the salary lines and put it into a contracted service line,
Okay.
okay?
We're having a hard time finding paras.
Yes.
We pay our paras quite well comparably, as well as the insurance is some of the best.
But
Are we-
let it be known far and wide.
Yeah,
Right.
we want quality paras here, and we are willing to compensate you for your valuable work that you do. Like, that should be known. And I hope that we're spreading that word, because we, in all of our comparisons, I mean,
Yeah.
we compensate our paras second to none here,
Yes,
and we value them.
yes.
So,
Yes, and what I found out today is some of the schools don't offer New Hampshire retirement for their paras.
yeah,
Right.
If they came here, we pay for a portion of their New
Yeah.
Hampshire retirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, the second one is similar. I mean, the last one. Again, we're contracted para service. What we're doing is we're taking the budget money out of the personnel line items, and we're moving it into a professional services contract line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I will make a motion to approve the 4 special education items in the budget adjustments.
Second. And discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay. We'll move on to item B.
Okay, I'm assigning a comment to me.
Oh, man,
All right,
I was waiting for this one.
really?
No.
It's so exciting. All right, so this is the MS-24. This is the the estimated revenues, okay? This is one of the last pieces I have to file to set the tax rate. And what we're doing is, or what I've done in the past is I try to estimate the revenues for the entire year as strongly as possible so that I'm reducing the tax rate as much as I can. But I don't want to go over where we're not collecting that revenue. So some of my estimates are broad, okay? So the tuition line, the first one on page 2,
Yep.
3,570,000 is the Fremont tuition,
Okay,
okay? Earnings on investments, $5,000. Right now, earnings on investments is fantastic.
right.
In years past, it's been very poor,
Mhm.
okay? So I think I can make that revenue, okay? Food service sales goes in another fund. That one doesn't affect the tax rate. Other local sources, basically, if a parent doesn't participate in the Chromebook insurance plan, they're responsible to pay 100% of the damage to the Chromebook if the student damages it, okay? So I have an appropriation to pay for that for those people who don't participate in the insurance program, but it's offset by a revenue because we're charging them 100% of the cost.
Yeah.
Okay, that 13,000 is the money that is the amount of the appropriation, but it's the money I would get from the parents.
That's
Okay,
a lot of broken Chromebooks.
Yeah.
you'd be surprised.
I think I know. I mean, I know, I got kids, I know. Okay,
School building aid, we get a payment from the state. They pay for a portion of our bond payment. So, and it declines each year.
Sure.
For this year, it's $448,440.
Until the bond comes off.
That's right.
Yeah.
The next one is special education aid. This is like a circuit breaker, aid that the state provides. When special education costs hit a certain dollar amount, they participate in that. And so, Dr. Kennett is spending a lot of effort to make sure that he's collecting as much money as possible. This number actually is going to get changed by the state before the state sets the tax rate, because they don't let me know the number until the day I set the tax rate. Vocational aid, they participate in the cost of transporting here to SST. I'm assuming it's about 10,000 because that's how much it is every year. Child nutrition, this is what the state pays for free and reduced lunch, $7,000. That doesn't affect the tax rate. The federal program grants doesn't affect the.
Hold on, sorry, Matt. We've had this discussion before. So for parents that fill out the applications for free or reduced lunch, and to qualify for that, this is where this number increases from the state.
This is the state share of that. There's another line for the federal share of that.
Yep. But that's what, this is one spot that would increase to our district from the state, should parents exercise that option and fill that paperwork out.
Correct.
Thank you.
Another area would be, we would get more entitlement money where like Title I, reading and math assistance would increase. Title II might increase, okay? We would also get more money through state adequacy aid.
Yep.
Okay, so if we can get people to fill out those forms as much as possible, the whole district is better off.
Right. Yeah, so my plea and, you know, to our constituents is that none of us like increases in taxes, and sometimes we think we don't have a say in that. We don't have an ability to make an influence, and we do in a whole bunch of small areas, and that all adds up.
A lot, yes.
That's great comment.
Let's see, federal program grants, 305,661. This would be like Title I, special education, IDEA, Title IIA. I'm sorry, IDEA is down a little further. Child nutrition on the federal source, the federal government pays $130,000 towards free and reduced lunch. And then the disability programs for $416,000, that's the special ed aid that we get from the federal government. And then finally, the Medicaid distribution, $50,000. There was a time when we got over $100,000 from Medicaid, but they changed their regulations, and for a couple of years, that number was zero. Troy's working on, again, the billing side of this, and he's trying to bill as much as he can ethically to Medicaid.
Yeah, he's maximizing the benefit to our district, and
That's
we
right.
thank him for that.
So then I'm gonna go to the bottom, the last page on page 3. So the total revenues from up above is $5,718,000 that don't come from the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Okay. Then also added to that, we're taking surplus funds from last year. We had 2 warrant articles where we voted to put $125,000 aside. That's coming from surplus funds. We add that as a revenue, okay? Essentially, these items down here, we're budgeting for a net income loss, all right? The next one here, $681,797, that's the amount that's essentially returned back to the taxpayers. We're adding that as if it's a revenue, but we're not gonna collect it. It's reducing the tax rate, okay? That came from the DOE 25 report that we approved, I think, 2 meetings ago, okay? But then we're retaining $612,840, which is the contingency fund. So the total revenues, the budgeted revenues that I'm projecting right now is $6,525,273. So
Part of that, the lion's share of that is money that's coming in from other places.
yes,
Some of that, smaller amount, is money that we are giving back, right,
yes,
to the taxpayers that we didn't use.
yes. So we're adding that as if it's a revenue that we're never gonna collect,
Right.
okay?
It's an offset.
It's an offset.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, just go ahead and finish what you were saying.
So the other revenues that are not on here is the state adequacy fund. I tried to explain at the last meeting.
Right.
Okay, so I just want you to be aware that we're gonna get some money from the state that's not on this report, that impacts the tax rate, okay?
Right, and it's going to be
A little lower,
a little lower than what it normally is.
and they're gonna take a little more out of your real estate taxes.
Right.
Okay, so, but this starts the tax rate setting. Okay?
Ask a question.
Please.
Uh,
I got a few.
so, this is a draft.
This is a draft.
When does this become a signed version? And then who does that go to?
I'm the one who prepares it,
I figured.
okay? I'm the one who signs it, and I usually submit it the day the tax rate's set. I want to be able to change it as much as possible. I want to listen to feedback from everybody. And based upon that feedback, that's how we're gonna set this.
Right.
So it occurs either at the end of October, beginning of November.
And just so people know, the number on this, the total revenues and credits on this MS 24, plus the state adequacy aid, which will be less
Yes,
than in the years past,
yes,
which is no fault of anybody's here.
yes,
The state just decided to give less to us, which means we
Yes.
have to foot more of the bill. That'll equal a number that is the total revenue that we're projecting.
Yes. And the difference between that and our appropriation is what's gonna get taxed to the taxpayer.
Well, that's where I was going.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, Tyler, yeah, put it together.
Put it all together.
Yeah.
So we have all this revenue that we're looking at. And then we'll have an appropriations budget.
Yes.
And the disparity is what, between the two, the gap
Yeah, the
is
delta.
what is gonna affect the tax rate
Yes.
for the towns. Okay,
And again, when I say tax rate, I'm saying the local tax and the state tax.
Yep.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Other schools will just give you the local,
Sure.
okay?
Yep. So you will prepare this and this will get submitted to,
The Department of Revenue Administration,
okay,
and they're the ones who sit down with all the communities,
Mhm.
the community leaders, and set the tax rate for that community. They'll literally call you at the beginning of the week and they'll tell you your appointment is this day.
Yep.
Okay? I have,
when we say community leaders, what does that mean?
so it would be me, okay? On the town side, it might be the finance director or the board of selectmen secretary.
Okay.
That's would be for Kingston.
Yeah.
For Newton, it would be the town administrator and they have a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Okay, it would be those two.
Yeah.
Okay? And maybe the tax collector in each
Yeah.
of the communities,
Okay.
okay? But what I'll do is I'll call the chair, Micah,
Yeah,
when we're setting the tax rate. Okay, so we have up until that moment to
Yeah.
make changes on this form,
okay,
okay?
yeah, to be as accurate and thorough as we can.
Yes.
right.
And in years past, I mean, last year, I only had like 200,000 of unanticipated revenues above this estimate, which isn't really bad. It's like, I think it was like 0.6 or 0.7%. Okay,
Okay,
so that's the MS-24.
great.
We spoke about inflation. I'm gonna take that out of this. I gave you the trust fund balances in my report.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through the manifest questions? Because I actually got them from 3 different times. Do you want to go through them?
Yeah, briefly, yeah.
Okay,
I think I have a couple of brief follow-up questions or clarifications, but
sure.
you were very,
Okay,
Thorough answers.
you're a good word, yeah, good.
yeah. So basically,
I'll start with that.
this one was on the PDF, so it was kind of like, I'm trying to stick it in here.
Mhm.
All right, so you had a question about the Common Core, and I said Envision Math Common Core is a curriculum approved by the school board. This was approved by the school board a while ago. Actually,
2 years.
I'd like to comment if I can, please. So I had a very long and very in-depth conversation with the curriculum director, Christine, on this. So this answer, I appreciate what you did. This answer is actually not quite correct.
okay,
And she was actually able to explain in depth exactly, because I'm trying to understand the difference between what something that's a Common Core standard versus a Common Core math for, understand all those nuances. And she was able to do a really good job
Okay.
explaining it. So,
and that's perfect.
yeah. So thank you. And thank you for the connection.
Okay.
To put that to bed. So
All right,
I'm good there.
the next one, you wanted to see an executive summary of the new law update, the law updates for the year. And I gave you a link to the website.
Okay.
And so this is actually put on Drummond Woodsum,
Okay.
Our attorneys,
Okay.
okay?
And there is, I haven't looked at that yet. There is it goes through the highlights. I don't want to read a 75-page document, right?
Yes,
There's, okay.
yep. Let's see, what is Smart Pass? Smart Pass is an app on the phone,
Yep.
and it's the hall pass.
Yep.
Here at the high school. And to your point about Frontline.
Yep.
We talked about this one too.
Okay. Because when you said this, a hall pass, I'm like, we should not be paying this kind of money for hall pass.
It's a little, I want to hear more about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe we can talk to, we can elicit the feedback.
Sure.
Of
Yeah.
a wider array of people involved.
sure, absolutely. I can ask another,
We talked to Tom,
Administrator.
Jen, whoever's.
it would be Jen.
This is the death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If every time we turn around, it's a couple $1,000s for something
Yes.
that's like,
Yeah, it's
this
like
is just what we
yeah.
do.
Call me old school, but
Yeah.
we got paper.
We used to use
lying
a piece of paper.
around. Right, like.
Yeah.
So,
But then I know, but you know, look,
We had the conversation about this one,
Okay.
and we had it this summer.
okay,
Okay, so I don't want to make it sound like we just buy these things and let them roll every year.
yep, okay.
Okay,
So so the decision was made by a team of people that this is the most effective way to do this, and this is a cost worth bearing to the district.
here at the high school, yes.
Here at the high school.
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to hear more about this.
I want to hear about it.
Yeah. Not right now.
Right.
These are. Okay, the next one, I don't know where that answer comes from. These are special education purposes.
You and I already talked about this. This one was the
Mhm.
very long, all of those items.
Oh, yeah,
we'll leave it
yeah,
there, Matt. I was very specific because I go through, for the public's knowledge, I go through a line by line by line of every single item.
Yes.
And then I look them up and I find out what we are spending money on, because this is taxpayers' dollars.
Yes,
And so I asked you a bunch of questions on a bunch of these items that didn't make sense to me.
yes,
I had a feeling where they were coming from, but you did clarify item by item, so thank you for that. Many of them were special education and a couple other programs that they
Yes.
were warranted, so thank
Yep.
you for doing that.
I do have an update from Dr. Kennett on those. I haven't forwarded it yet. I will do that.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you,
so that's the first one.
thank you.
The second one, which by the way, this format's easier.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so these are not just your questions.
Yeah,
These
I
are
saw
Rick Edelman's questions. I jammed in here as well.
Yeah, I
Okay.
saw that.
So the first one is BCBA Consulting, Catherine McBride.
Yep.
She runs a consulting firm that provides services for special education. Her company provides a person to accomplish behavioral strategy consultation to do behavioral assessments and guide interventions done by special education teachers and paraprofessionals. I had to have them remove the education speak.
Okay, and this is something that Dr. Kennett has reviewed and approved, and he believes that this is the best use
Yes.
and execution for this. Okay.
And that particular firm is another firm that we talked about. Okay.
Okay.
So, the next one is, why are we paying for hotel stays? This is for a conference for phonics, science, and they call it phonics, science, and more conference. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's grant funded. You can see that the account number starts with a 22. So,
Okay.
Oh, that's helpful.
And you, that might come second nature to you, it doesn't to me, right?
exactly.
I'm literally reading 100 and something pages of expenditures. And so
Yeah, I see it.
So I appreciate you calling that out.
Yes.
When I see something like this, a hotel stay, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
know why
yeah.
we're paying for
I
this.
try to
Thank
call
you.
it out.
Yep.
You're not going to know it
Yep.
initially.
Yep.
You'll learn it by osmosis.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next one down is, this one deals with Perfection Learning Corporation. Has someone done a cost benefit analysis on rental versus owned? Oh, no, that's not it. I'm sorry. This is the copiers.
Copiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, OTS leasing.
That just seemed like a lot of money to me.
I mean, did we do a cost benefit analysis? Okay. During the spring of 2021, we asked for a formal proposal from copier companies to lease copiers. The proposals and discussions can be found within the May 19th, 2021 documents and school board minutes. We came off a lease agreement for copiers that were 8 years old. And there was some resistance to change the copiers at that time. However, it was outweighed by the maintenance issues and the significant downtime that we had with those old copiers.
Okay.
With the 3-year lease, we removed printers from the district in relation to prioritizing uptime. Removing printers saved the district roughly $27,000. I believe only 3 printers remain in the district. We came out of this, what came out of this was improved security for printing, where the printing is tied to our door access.
I do that too.
Okay. And the employees can go anywhere they can print to a queue, go anywhere in the district, swipe the copier, and it'll come out on that copier.
And we saved $27,000.
Yes.
So that's the return on
That's
investment.
the ROI,
That's
yeah.
what I'm looking at, right?
Yes,
So,
okay.
thank you.
And it
So,
would be, that's from 2021.
yes. But I want to say though, before we jump into something else, I don't want to buy copiers for a district like this. It's so much better. They're not thinking about it.
Yep.
They want it to work.
Yep.
Okay.
I hear you.
So
Yeah.
it's better to just do a 3-year lease and roll them over.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you
No,
have,
I was just gonna say, it may be worthwhile some point soon to go out to bid again on that stuff, or.
it's every 3 years.
Right, so if we can, at that point, we can decide to.
Yep.
You know, get new proposals from other companies or whatever.
Yeah, keep it competitive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Let's see, this is the audit services. Did we get multiple quotes for this service? And did that selection come through the board? We solicited formal proposals and selected a firm that was approved by the finance committee. The finance committee rep reported the results to the school board, and I linked the meeting minutes there.
What year was that? I mean, humor me.
Let me click on it.
Long before Mike and I were here.
I think it's a 5-year term.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said
May,
it was almost up, so that was like 4 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So May of 2019.
Okay.
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 So, I personally did not participate in selecting the firm because I was also performing audits at the same time. My accountant, Marie, shepherded this process through the finance committee. I believe we're near the end of the contract, so please expect this one to come forward in the future.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay. The next one is for thought leaders,
Workman.
John Wortman.
These start with a 22.
Yeah, it's a grant.
We're learning osmosis. It's
Okay.
real.
John Wortman provides executive training. Okay. There are 2 things that Tom uses. One is John Wortman. The other one is a book. And I meant to bring it with me because it's actually a really good tool. I've gone through a lot of different executive trainings. And I have to say these 2 are probably the best I've seen in my entire career.
Okay. Well, that's why I started with, I'm sure this is a great PD opportunity. Because I did the research, I went on his website, I looked around, I'm sure it is.
Yes.
Hence my question of like, who's able to attend this?
Yes.
And quite frankly, are teachers allowed to attend it? Are they required to attend it? If the district is willing to spend this kind of money for a professional development opportunity, are we trying to get as many people there as possible?
Right now, it's to all the administrators.
Okay.
There is discussion about bringing in some of the team leaders.
Okay.
And the teachers.
Okay.
I think the unfortunate part of it is there's just so many of them, and John Wortman is just one person.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's easier to start with the top layer.
Okay.
Train them up, and then you can redirect your focus to the others.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to
So-
see those PD opportunities begin to splice, right? Because that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to get school board, administration, and teachers on the same page, because that's when we'll start to see serious progress in this
Exactly.
educational community. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, okay.
Let's see. Voucher 1043 highlighted summer program transportation at $3,276. Is this 1 month for the whole entire summer? This is for a 3-day period. The entire summer contract was for $17,472, and it was paid by a federal grant. Okay. Sports transportation. I think these are all Rick's questions.
Yeah.
What rate do we get paid for these trips? And we were charged $546 per day. I dug into this rate further. The contract does not specifically mention summer transportation, but it does specify a contract price for extracurricular duty, which the summer is not extracurricular duty, but maybe what we can do is we can communicate with the bus company that we should be charged that other price. The problem with the summer thing though is it's a longer period of time. It's like an entire day, where the extracurricular duty is like up to a 3-hour period. So it's not apples and apples. The next one, voucher 1044, page 2, is this equipment listed for auditorium or the football field? And so basically we had to repair the PA system that's in the press box out on the playing field over here. And I think that might be a good tour to take if you want to go see the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last one is, dramatists,
Yeah.
play services and music theater international for 4 shows each. What are these charged for? What are these charges for? Props, outfits, etc. And then we put on a play and we have to pay for royalty fees, scripts and music scores. And this is for 4 showings of that play.
A lot of that stuff typically needs to be licensed, right? If it's still, if it's not
Exactly.
in public domain.
Great
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
of
you
you.
paid by the showing, huh?
Yeah.
They do
It's
Ford.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same location, same group of people,
that's right.
same day even. It's like, man.
That's where they get you.
Okay.
But that's, you know.
Yeah.
That's great though, and that we're putting the auditorium, and this group of people's talents too, so.
Okay. So that concludes the manifest questions. We can now open for public comments.
Okay, sorry, I had one quick follow-up I forgot to ask.
Oh, yeah, please.
So that, John Wortman.
Yes.
My last question on there was, when is the workshop?
They're held throughout periodically through the year.
Yep.
I don't know the exact days.
Okay,
The last time we met him was during the administrative retreat, which was in August.
Mhm.
I'm sure that if you wanna, talk to Tom to see if you wanna sit in just to kind of see what it's
no,
like.
I'm just curious when it is so that I can follow up and
Yeah.
find out,
Yeah,
was it money well spent, right?
yeah.
So, okay, thank you. That's it, Mike, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So, public comment, there's nobody here. So we can officially adjourn the meeting.